Imagine making a top-down shooter in 2012 that is so ugly it looks like it was drawn by a 13-year-old. But then it ends up being fun. But then it ends up being interesting. But then it ends up being one of the most famous indie games of all time. Bro is so fucking insane he managed to get milk out of a stone. Today I'm gonna be talking about Hotline Miami, a top-down shooter developed by the Nathan Games. It has interesting gameplay, music, and storytelling style. For the sake of simplicity, when I'm talking about gameplay, I'll be focusing on Hotline 1. And the gameplay is mostly manifested through Jacket, which is the protagonist. Jacket's mechanics revolve around adaptability and problem solving, which is what makes this game so good in my opinion. He can pick items off the ground, which are either melee weapons or guns. Guns are powerful and have unlimited reach, but attract unwanted attention with the noise. Melee weapons are silent, have good coverage and AoE, but lacks range. And you constantly have to play around with what you find. Analyze the environment, create a plan on the fly, and when shit hits the fan, act quickly. And don't even get me started on the level design. The enemy types, the way things are positioned throughout the map, all the items, all the details, fantastic job. Okay, look, it doesn't matter the amount of cope unit take. 3D games are simply superior to 2D ones regarding shooters. You have a very distant FOV,
Right click at the
walking around feels natural, you can have much more things in less space, it's much more intuitive and elegant. There's more options to place yourself in strategic positions.
CT player is always waiting for Tom Case and P-Stick. Oh my lord! Oh, there's so much you can gain! Third player up the corner! Oh, GXX! What a play that is!
It's simply the superior way of making shooters. You could make it like a 2D platformer, the same as Mario, Mega Man or Contra, but the stage feels unnatural as things end up being stacked and shooting feels weird. Well, at the very least for something like Hotline Miami. The best way, if you're going to make it 2D, is to make it top-down. Things are placed throughout the map in a meaningful way, and everything feels natural the way it is placed. Also, shooting and aiming feels much better. The only problem is the limited FOV, as it is just a rectangle. Now masterfully, aware of this problem, they made part of the fun knowing what's inside the rooms ahead of time, so you can plan out what to do and what not to do. So weirdly enough, if a game like this were to be made in 3D, it would be an inferior experience. The game ingeniously used the limitation it had to its advantage. Analyzing the environment, trying to adapt with what you find around the map, trying to measure the consequences of your decisions. The problem-solving aspect is so fun. It triggers that part of the brain that fully immerses you into something. Like bro, play this game one time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 'Doesn't matter, play however many times you like, it just keeps getting better every time you do. What a masterpiece. Now, I wish I could have ended this conversation on a positive note, but they made Hotline Miami 2, and then they threw everything directly into the garbage can. Like, yeah, sure, Hotline 2 brought some interesting mechanics or whatever, but let me ask you a simple question. What's the point of having good mechanics if the level design sucks? Now, having talked about all the fundamentals of the movement mechanics, it was all going to be in vain without the proper stage design. kinda like having the latest, most advanced car on the market, but all the roads in your city look like this. Well, what's the point? The understanding of level design this game has is have rooms with gigantic hallways where you either shoot at things that can't even see you or get shot by things that you can't even see. And sometimes you shoot at a wall, and when the enemies aggro onto you, you just shoot at them as they go through the door. And that's 95% of the level design. It's so brain dead, playing this game feels like a chore. You just go from room to room shooting bad guys. It's so repetitive. Like why? Why did they made it this way? Okay, hear me out. This game has so many problems, I don't even know where to start.
Look, I wouldn't even know where to start.
So I'll try to create the perfect scenario for you to imagine. First of all, dump out these gigantic hallways. It doesn't work for a top-down shooter like this. Hotline 1 made the top-down camera to its advantage, while Hotline 2 made it to its disadvantage. You should make small meaningful rooms where everything is visible. Maybe you can even have a radar of some kind so you can see the presence of enemies off-screen up to a certain range. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Small rooms also give the game a really explosive feeling, as it is much harder to aim and enemies try to sandwich you out of nowhere. The only thing these gigantic hallways do is make guns significantly overpowered. Why? Guns were already extremely good in Hotline 1. In this game it's practically the only thing you use, as they outmatch melee weapons severely. Both games also try to introduce all these characters and masks and all these different mechanics. Like, I understand they are trying to create more variety and stuff, but if you add too much stuff like this, you risk breaking the game, as the player can exploit it in powerful but boring ways, or sometimes force the player to experience inferior mechanics. For example, you have Tony in Hotline 1, that completely destroys the adaptability aspect of the game. Or like in Hotline 2, where you can start a level with an akimbo amplified with 128 bullets. Yeah, why not? Why not start a level with a minigun with 1,000 bullets that can pierce through walls? Why not start a level with a bazooka that has infinite ammo, so you don't even need to play the game anymore? You just aim the general direction of the target and finish every level with one hand tied behind your back. In my opinion, Base Jacket was perfect, or at the very least extremely fun to play. He can shiv enemies, use enemies as human shields, and like I mentioned before, he can also improvise with whatever he finds on the map. Back when I played this game for the first time, this mechanic was extremely exciting, because I didn't need to grow overly attached to the items, like a normal shooter where you have 15 weapons in your inventory. In this game you just use stuff, throw it away, grab another item, use it and so on, making stuff super dynamic. So if the mechanics are already good as they are at Base Jacket, why bother changing it? Just focus on the level design instead, as that's where the fun is. Speaking of which, there are 3 ways to approach level design in video games. Completely fixed, completely random, or a hybrid of both. By making a level completely fixed, there's only one solution to it. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not very replayable. Because once you know the solution, well, that's it. Time to do something else with your life. You could make it completely random to add replay value to the game, but it's not very advisable because the entire game is going to feel like a gigantic slop, like there's no thought behind anything. I believe Hotline 1 is right in the middle. Grounded in problem solving, there is a fixed and most efficient way to complete a level. But you can also do some crazy ass shit that makes absolutely no sense and still get away with it. With multiple ways to complete a level, it adds a lot of replay value. While at the same time making each section feel familiar and built in a meaningful way. A similar game that carries the same feeling is Hitman Blood Money. In that game, grounded in problem solving, there is a fixed and most efficient way to complete a level, where you can also do some crazy ass shit that makes absolutely no sense and still get away with it.
Let's wait for the guard. Oh, he's already sitting down. Oh no, that's bad. Oh no. That's bad. I'll try to salvage this. Technically, nobody has seen anything yet.
You got no business.
Take the necklace. Oh. I don't think I'll make it. Huh. Huh. Oh no, 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 no. Let me out. Ooh, actually made it. All right, that was...
Such an approach to level design opens up room for a lot of creativity in how to play the game. Overall, Hotline 1 has 20 levels to play. 3 are just story event levels, 2 are just tutorials, 2 you play as biker, and 1 is the final boss. So in total, you got only 12 levels to have fun on, which is what ends up making this game so bittersweet in my opinion. You know what this reminds me of? Brother in Arms Hell's Highway. This game has fantastic mechanics and fantastic level design.
Ball it!
But it's too easy. So if you wanna master it, the game just lets you down, leaving you with a bittersweet taste in the mouth. Hotline 1 is the same thing. Fantastic mechanics and fantastic level design. But ultimately, you only have 12 levels to play on. Well, I'm definitely not finding that level design in Hotline 2, so what am I supposed to do? When you think about it, it looks like even the Nathan doesn't know how to make levels. Apparently, they think difficulty is creating gigantic hallways where you keep getting shot by things you can't even see. Yes, congratulations, you indeed made the game much harder, in a bad way. It's so funny how Dennis acts with such indifference towards Hotline 1.
First game works, people buy it. We could do a sequel and wanted to make...
He's completely oblivious to the masterpiece he created.
Oblivious.
Also, can someone explain why using a human shield actually increases your speed? What sense does it make? I was thinking like, when they were coding the game, they had like character movement speed equals base movement speed minus human shield speed reduction. But the variable human shield speed reduction was like -5, and since it's a double negative, it actually increases your speed. Or perhaps they had 2 variables, like base movement speed with a value of 20, and human shield movement speed with a value of like 15. But they realized 20 was too much, and so they reduced it to 10, but forgot to adjust the other one. And again, it actually increases your speed. Look, I'm not saying that this is what happened, okay? I'm just saying that this is what happened. It's different. I mean, I'm not complaining, of course. The human shield mechanic is so fun the way it is, and I'm glad they left it bugged. Also, the game has a little bit of a roguelike feeling to it, where you have enemies that show up with random weapons, or sometimes you find random items on the ground, enhancing the replay value and the adaptability aspect of the game. Regardless to say, it's a really good idea. It would be cool if the game could spawn auto shotguns, revolvers that can pierce through walls, or even the Akimbo MP5, as long as they don't show up all the time. If you watched my crosscode review, you know that the difference between the cure and the poison is simply the dosage. The same can be applied here. If it's a powerful item that only appears on the ground like 2% of the time, I'm okay with it. It's actually a really cool idea that enhances the adaptability aspect of the game. The game did tackle enemies in very interesting ways as well. For example, you have bad guys with guns, you can't attack them straight on, they'll just kill you. You can play peekaboo with them, so they close distance like the drones they are. But sometimes they don't fall for it, as it should be. You can use guns, but guns make noise, so you have to find inventive ways to take them out, enhancing the problem solving of the game. You have dogs. Dogs are fast and can only be killed with weapons. You have the fat guys can only be killed with firearms, same problem with the noise. And you can play around with all this stuff in super interesting ways. An idea for an enemy would be one that uses armor, and by having a lot of health, it restricts you to use either melee weapons or high caliber firearms. Maybe you can have enemies that never get triggered by noise, so they just stay in their position like a turret and you have to find clever ways to take them out. Maybe you can have a melee enemy that can only be killed with ground executions or guns, and they also get off the ground really quickly if they get knocked down. I think that opens room for fun level design, given that enemies who use melee weapons tend to be very weak. Maybe you can have enemies that don't get knocked down by throws. Maybe you can have stage-specific gimmicks, like something that suppresses noise or force enemies to go to certain places. There's so much room for creativity, it's very exciting. Now, can a game superior to Hotline Miami 1 ever exist? One that tackles all the problems efficiently and builds upon the ideas that worked? Well, it's very unlikely, unfortunately, because who's going to make it? It ain't gonna be AAA studios. They prefer to make 3D games in general. Some top-down game like this is out of the question. The only ones that can make it are indie studios. But indie game dev is just a truckload of copium for the most part. It's not like you are going to make a good game and receive financial success from it. That's not how it works. Think of it like YouTube videos. You can have the best video in the entire platform, it doesn't matter. If no one knows who you are, or no one cares about you, it's just gonna sit there at 5 views and that's it. The only way a studio can succeed in professional game dev is by 1. Having a lot of money, 2. Being already well established in the market, or 3. Getting extremely lucky. And that sums it all up very efficiently. Most people that try won't get an Undertale, FNAF, or Stardew Valley. This type of luck just doesn't happen to the majority, even if they're good at it. And although I do believe in the tenacity some people have, all these barriers make it hard for people who just want to deliver a good game. So again, whatever chance we had was with Hotline 2, but we all know how it ended up. Maybe some random indie studio is gonna try something like this. I don't know. Doesn't cost to have hope, I guess. I like the story of this game. It does a good job in portraying a 1980s Miami, and how the developers express the universe without much talk or explaining. Simply by walking around you can feel the world that was built. Now, legend has it that there are people out there that understand the plot of this game. Well, I'm definitely not one of them, so I'll try to explain the best I can. Spoilers, of course. I mean, you don't need to overly worry about it, because it's not like you're gonna play this game and be like, oh, I see. I understand now. I can see what's going on or where things are going. It's more like, huh? Wait, what? Okay, what's this? Wait, what? But, you know, I don't want to take that away from you, so there will be spoilers ahead. The plot of this game, from what I can gather, is about a terrorist organization that threatens specific people, usually ex-military or hitmen, to carry out their dirty work in order to achieve some sort of political ambition. Their main method of operation is to deliver orders to these agents by sending cryptic telephone messages about what they should do. Usually these agents are only seen as chess pieces, used and discarded as it becomes convenient, regardless of how loyal they are. Drama, a bunch of people die and then a nuke drops and kills everybody. Yeah, go figure. The tone of the story reflects hopelessness and illusion of choice. Regardless of what the characters choose, if they fight or not, it all leads to the same outcome. Take the character Beard, for example. Whether he died in Hawaii or died in San Francisco, it doesn't matter, he dies anyway. Jacket as well. Whether he died in Hawaii, died in Miami, or died because of a nuke, he died anyway. Everything he did to survive was pointless. Same thing with the Sun. Whether he died because of the Colombians or died because of a drug overdose, he dies anyway. Henchman. Whether he died working for the mafia or left it to survive, he dies anyway. Evan worked so hard to write his book, it didn't matter at all. It's kinda cute how you can choose to spend your last moments with your family instead of working. It's a nice touch. I guess the only character that sort of had a happy ending was Richter, because he simply accepted the inevitability of his death. No denial, no anger, no bargaining, he just accepted and that's it. Well, at the very least in the last moments before he died. Regarding the story of this game, I guess the coolest thing about it is the way it is told, really. Because the characters don't usually see things as they are, but simply how they interpret them. For example, Jacket remembers killing Biker and not injuring him, because that's how he remembers it. Or how that crazy sociopath from the beginning of Hotline 2 sees his whole life as a movie. Or how Son, while high on that drug, sees all the fans as animals, as that's how he interprets the situation at that moment. And then earning his place in Valhalla is actually him eating some chop suey. The storytelling style of both games is very unique and made in a way that I can definitely respect. Also, the game has enormous focus on details rather than the big picture. All of the characters, no exceptions, are completely immersed into the details of their lives. For example, on the mission Clean Hit, Jacket shoots up a hotel with a few politicians involved with the Russo-American coalition. Why did those people need to die? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Or when Beard's elite team was involved in the Hawaiian conflict. They were mostly concerned whether they're going to go back home or how to get the job done. Well, anyways, why are you here again? Shooting these people? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just get it done. Everybody is absolutely immersed in the aspects of their lives. That they completely ignore how their actions are changing the world around them. All these characters you play with are nothing but details for the actual plot brewing in the background. When you think about it, that's oddly realistic. There's no James Bond out there. It's not like you're gonna do this thing and then it's going to link up with the other thing and connect the puzzle and out of nowhere you're working to stop a nuclear strike. All of us are simply focused on the details of our lives. How do I pay rent? How do I talk to this person? How do I do this or that? But the actions we make, even though small, do impact society. If you tackle a very hard challenge and manage to win, your confidence and strength inspire other people to do the same. Because if you can do it, they can as well. In your head, you didn't think much of it. You may think you only did it for yourself, but you end up changing society greatly with your strength and tenacity. If you fearmonger about something, like AI for example, you might think you're just venting. But not only are you going to make other people anxious, you're also going to make yourself even more scared, as you'll find even more reasons to be afraid of it. Your fear multiplies when you spread it. If you only help people who help you, and show great aversion to care for people who don't care for you, it inspires other people to think that it's perfectly normal to become tribal, and only care for those who care for them, creating conflict and perhaps even warfare in the process. If you tackle your life and what you do with excitement and interest, people can feel it when you talk.
How cool is that?
Something that looked boring or uninteresting feels extremely fun.
Frankly, if this does not blow your mind, you have no emotion.
Your excitement ends up being intoxicating and inspires other people to tackle their lives with excitement as well. No one cares about how their actions change society. We simply are who we are. We are all here focused on the details of our lives. We forget about the society we are building out there with our actions and words. So at the end of the day, are we really all that different from the 50 Blessings agents?
Christ, I've had this thing on so goddamn long now.
Yeah, long time, jeez.
Oh.
All right.
When that power plant was having a meltdown, that booby trap elevator blows up and mortally wounds Barnes and heavily injures Jacket. Daniels decides to sacrifice himself and stay with Barnes in his final moments. Beard could have just escaped all by himself, as he would have had way more chance to survive by going alone, but he decided to take his chance and help Jacket out. In his head, he was just doing his job like, oh yeah, whatever. But to Jacket, that small act of kindness meant the whole world to him. I like this game a lot. Not only does it have a very fun setting, but it also tackles the top-down camera style in a very interesting way. If you enjoy action and problem solving, this game is definitely for you. Well, Hotline 1 that is. Hotline 2 doesn't have any problem solving. You just walk around like a drone shooting people. Like, what good things can I say about Hotline 2? Well, the story is fun, I guess. And the music is probably better than Hotline 1. Each stage has its own track, and they are all very good. And I think that's it. But yeah, Hotline 1 is really good. Do yourself a favor and play this game.